So we're going to be drawing the Abegweit today. So I've got my paper right here to kind of instruct me on how to do this. And then I have my paper here. So you're just going to kind of follow along with me. We're actually going to practice. We're going to draw on this side in pencil first. Then we're going to flip it over and we're going to draw it on the other side. So they're not going to look exactly the same. And then once we've done that, you can pick which one you like the best. And later on, we're actually going to be able to paint it. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start about an inch or two. You can actually use your fingers too and stack your fingers, and we're gonna make a mark right here. We're gonna make a line, kind of just a gentle wavy line across our paper. That's obviously gonna be our water. And then we're gonna add, our boat's gonna take up most of this space. So that's why we're kind of drawing together. So on this side, which is the left-hand side, I'm going to actually add a kind of a diagonal-ish line coming from the water here. And this side, I'm going to angle it the opposite direction. So it's going to go like this, and then it's going to go straight up. So in the video, she talks about this is actually going to be the front of the boat. This is the back of the boat. So the front of the boat is actually the part that cuts the ice. The back of the boat is the part that they actually drive trains and cars into. So I want, you just noticed me bring this line up a little bit. I want them to be at about the same point, and that doesn't really matter that much because we do have the water here, but I am going to connect those two lines together. And obviously I'm doing that very slowly. And then I'm going to add another little line on top of both sides, and I'm going to go ahead and add another slow line on top. Okay. So now I'm going to start with the back of the boat where the cars actually drive in. So I'm going to leave a few inches from the edge of my boat, and I am going to curve this line around like this. And that's actually where the boats kind of drive in. I'm then going to make a diagonal line from that curved line. Okay, and then I'm going to stop that for a second. Because there's some other things that we need to add. So that curved line, we're actually going to add it over here too, but we're going to make that curve a little bit more kind of drastic. So I'm going to make a line that comes up a little bit right here, and then I'm going to curve the line back. Actually, it's not curved. I'm going to draw the line back, excuse me. And then I'm going to curve the line around, and I'm going to stop it. So it doesn't stop at the same exact point. I'm going to make a slight diagonal line up. I'm going to bring this line here. I'm going to bring the line up. And then I'm going to bring it over. And then I'm going to actually bring it and curve it. And then I'm going to bring it over. Okay, I'm going to stop it about right here. So I actually can bring my line over and it touches this line. You might have to make a little bit of a line down at this point and bring it over to touch the end of that line. And if you have to do that, that's totally okay. All right? So now we have our boat, but we need to add some details to the boat. So what we're going to do is we're going to add a line here because this is going to be like a shadow. Now, some of your objects can be kind of at different points of your boat, and that's totally fine. Above the two double lines, we're actually going to make doors somewhere. So the doors are going to have to touch the double lines. So you're going to want to keep them in this area, but they can be here, they can be here. I don't want to make them come up all the way to the top of this. So I'm going to make a rectangle here. I'm going to do a rectangle inside of it. And then I'm going to add a line down the middle, okay? Now, I'm going to add some, we know that they have like porthole windows, so I'm going to add some circle windows. If you want to continue the circles all the way across, you're welcome to do that, or you can add some rectangle windows. Your choice. Okay. Now up here, we need our windows along here. So all I'm going to do, and this is kind of like the dining area, I'm going to add some long rectangles. So some people may be able to get 3 or 4. Some people may be able to get 5. Usually they're about the same shape because those are where the people eat and look out. If you can't fit 4 or 5 in there, just fit as many as you can, and it's totally fine. And then I'm going to add this detail here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to that point. You might not have a point here, but then you would just scoot your line back here and you would start a diagonal line back. Okay. Then you're going to make a straight line over and you're going to make a straight line down. And then I'm going to add a line right here on top. Okay. Now there are some extra boats right here on the top. So you might have room, you're just going to make a curved line with a straight line and a curved line. You might have room for 2 or 3, okay? So I'm just going to put 2. If you have room for 3, that's great. And then the last part we're going to do is where I'm assuming the captain sits, but I'm not really actually sure. So it's up here on this top part here. So I'm going to come back a little ways. I'm going to make a straight line. Then I'm going to make a long curved line that kind of passes the back of the boat a little bit. And then on here, I'm also going to make some squares or some rectangles, because obviously that's where they're looking out to sea. And the one at the front, I'm making like the letter D because that would be a little bit more rounded. Okay, the very last thing that we need to do is we need to add a few of the lines that come off, which I should know what those are called, but I don't know what those are called. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up here to this top point right here, and I'm going to make a line. It's not going to touch the top of my paper, okay? And then I'm actually going to take the top of that line and I'm going to connect it to this part here. I'm going to come back to the top of the line. I'm going to connect it to the back of the boat. And then I'm going to bring it and I'm going to connect it somewhere around the small boats on the top. And you can connect it anywhere there. I'm also going to draw a line like this. Okay, now back here, I have space in between this where the captain sits and this guy here. So I'm going to make a line that comes up. And now I'm going to connect that to a couple places as well. I'm going to bring the line down and I'm going to connect it here. I'm going to bring the line down and I'm going to connect it here. And then I'm going to do one more line across like this. And now we have our Abegweit.